Hello friends, today I want to show you how I painted this cute little bird. So easy, you won't believe it. The bird itself has probably maybe 3 or 4 strokes, brush strokes, and look how cute it is. I will say I also added a little bit of my gold series from Mab Watercolors, but really quite simple. So let's get to it. I'm going to be using my Lang palette. This is the Paul Rubens student palette. Love it. Has all the perfect little colors in here. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm also using my 8 round. My brush set sold out, but this is very much designed after the Velvet Touch Princeton round 8. It's snappy, which means when you're using it, it snaps right back into place. It's got a nice short handle, so easy for me to hold and isn't hitting anything around me. So I'm going to be using that set on my cute little birdie. It's so appropriate, right? Since we're painting a bird. Little brush holder. This is just a chopstick holder, by the way, but you know, I'm always trying to find fun things, so I thought that was cute. I have my little daisy palette from Meeden. Make sure you have your wash and your rinse water. Love, love, love this water dish by Meeden. It's really sturdy, it's pretty, it's clean, it's white, but it's really important to wash and rinse your brush. So you make sure you get all that watercolor out. Because watercolors is so transparent that if you know, you're using a dark color and you go to a lighter color, you don't want that to transfer over and maybe even muddy up your colors. So this little guy, look at how cute he is. We're going to do that right now. And how cute would he be for one card by itself, which I do quite often with those Strathmore cards, but you could add them to your florals or anywhere you like. All right, let me move this over. This is my Artisto pad. I started a new one. I should label it here for the new year, January 2025. Can you believe it? And as you know, I love these. If you can't get these, I know they're a little bit challenging to get out of the US. The Meeden 100% cotton paper is excellent. They both have such a beautiful texture. And they are 140-pound cold press. I like that because of that beautiful texture. And for what I'm doing today, this is perfect. Keep in mind the Meeden palettes, which are like this, are going to come on a block, just meaning they're all glued together. So if you're using a lot of water, it's really quite handy. But these Artisto pads are great for today. All right, what we're going to do first, I think I'll play with the palette, the colors a little bit. Let's do that first. Gosh, you could use so many different colors here. I'm going to, I think, play with this purple that I just happen to have in here. I think it was the violet, and I mixed in just a little bit more of the blue. But, you know, choose your color of bird you want. I love the violet bird, even though I don't think I've ever seen a violet bird. But you know what? It's yours. Make it unique to you. Make it so people go, ah, I know who painted that. Debbie, she loves pink and violet. So that's kind of my add in there. Okay, so this is the purple. So that's about the color I want. I might add in just a touch of blue. I think that's kind of pretty. So play with the color that you kind of want. And then I think to kind of ground it, just like my flowers, I always like to add in a little bit of brown or something kind of grounding. So there's my brown, and where I'm going to use that is like here. So I did his top wings purple, his bottom wings brown, and then of course I added in that MAB, that gold sparkle, because I kind of do that with everything. And then for my branches, I tend to go towards sap green. And I think that's a pretty color. Purple and green are complementary colors, meaning they're opposite on the color wheel. So I think that's really pretty together. And then I might just use a tiny bit of Van Dyke brown or something like that for some of the little stems. And then, of course, I've got my gold MABs, and I won't swatch those out because I'm about out here, but you see me use those all the time. So that's kind of my color palette. Of course, that could change. I think yellow would be a really, really pretty bird as well, maybe with some red in it. So kind of use your imagination, see what calls to you. And the brush stroke I'm going to use here is, let me get some paint on my brush. So for the top of him, I'm going to use a point, press, open up the barrel of the brush, and then lift up and get to that thin line again. This is such an easy way to paint these little birds. Ooh, I can't wait to show you, but practice that first. So you want to practice anchor your hand here. I hold up close towards the ferrule because it just gives me a little bit more control. And if I want, something looser, maybe some little round stems or things like that, I will hold farther back and kind of let my brush dance around. But for this, I'm trying to control this brush stroke as much as I can. So what I'm doing is very light pressure, and I'm tilting my brush a little bit to the right so I don't block the view. But what you want to do is whenever you're trying to just engage the tip of your brush and get that little tiny light line, you want to hold your brush as upright as possible and light pressure. So just practicing that brush stroke and then practicing moving and applying some more pressure. Put your brush, aim your brush about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and press down. Now I haven't got quite enough paint on there, so that's a little bit of dry brush, but see the brushes widening up because I'm applying more pressure. Now for the bird, we're just going to combine those two strokes, thin and a wider brush stroke. So we're going to be doing something like this, point and keep moving, open that brush stroke. Now I can already tell I don't have enough water there. So point, light pressure, keep moving, and open up that brush. Now picking it up, moving. And you get a thin, thick, thin. So I just say point, press, and point, lift up. All right? So practice that brush stroke a bit. Point, press, point. Point, press, point. And it's kind of like an S curve because we want that little body. All right, so those are the brush strokes, those are the colors I'm going to be using, also the gold MABs. And then let me just show you, I love this type of look for backgrounds. Let me show you kind of how I do that. So what I typically would do is, let's just grab a green here. Let me pick up a green, and let's just say we're adding a background to this. So what I do is go in, put in those dark colors, and really just kind of pressing, no particular style. But then what I do is rinse my brush, and it's pretty loaded. It's pretty wet, like a sponge. It's soaked it up. And then I just start going around with that wet brush and pulling that out. And it gives you this beautiful washy background. You can even go in, tap in if you want to add in some other colors, maybe a little bit of blue, something like that. So that's how I create these washy backgrounds, is just going in and then adding some water. Now you can do all kinds of stuff for those backgrounds, but that's kind of been an easy one for me. And look at the beautiful washy effect you get there. All right, so those are the brush strokes. Let me grab, now I just used my paper. Let me grab a pad here. Let's see. Okay, let's use this one. Let's find a page here. Lots of pretty flowers. Let's see, let's turn this over. Boy, I'm getting filled up here. All right, this one's full. 1 second. That's what happens. kind of paint in things and then they get dry or wet and I can't use the next page, I could actually even use this. I've been having a lot of fun with this little pad. It's like a little journal pad, and the reason I'm liking it is it's really easy to pack and take with me. As you know, I paint plein air a lot. I sit at coffee shops. I take them when I'm staying at a family's house. So this is also 140-pound cold press, and it comes in this little journal, which I love these as well. They're a little bit smaller than the Artisto. All right, so let's get started. I'm wetting my brush, making sure it's cleaned off, and then tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to pick up that paint. So let's see, what color did we decide on here? I think I decided on that violet with just a little bit of blue. So that's basically this color here. I could even mix a little with that, but I think what I had in mind was kind of wet and wet, using that purple and then adding in some of the blue afterwards. So we're going to try and do this in maybe 4 brush strokes, except for adding in a little bit of detail. So all you want to do, depending on, you know, what shape you want your bird, but what I'm going to do is, and I don't want to put him right in the middle, because composition, we want to keep our focus points kind of in 1/3 of the paper somewhat. So if I was to break this into thirds, I want to put my bird right here, because right in the middle is a little bit boring, I guess. So let's load our brush, tap, 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 and point. Now here's that brush stroke, and then widening out my brush. Look at that, the belly. Now make sure you have enough water on there. If you don't, just go back and grab some more. Point, press, point. And I'm just going to use the tip to kind of just shape it a bit. I don't mind that it's a little bit blobby like that, totally fine. And then wash, rinse my brush, tap it off, and I'm gonna grab some of that beautiful kind of chestnutty brown. Let's put that in there. I just think those browns, those neutrals look so pretty in contrast with the brown. And then I'm gonna create the bottom half of his body. And the bottom half is gonna be my bird anyway, a little bit chubbier, a little bit fatter. So here's the nose, point, and then press. And I'm really pressing on my brush there. Point, press, just like that. And then I'm gonna bring his little tail up in the back, just using the tip of my brush. Isn't that cute? And look at how pretty those two colors are together. I think they're so pretty. How about this? Let's mix a little bit of the brown and the purple for his tiny little feet. So let me grab some brown here. I'm running out of space on there. And let's just add that. Let's see. Oh boy, hold on. Let's grab my other palette. I always have palettes and I hate getting rid of the paint that's in them. So I always have all these palettes around with paint in them, which is okay because I can use that same color. And then tap, tap, tap. I'm gonna pick up some of that purple, just a tiny bit. And what's gonna happen there is I'm gonna create this beautiful purpley brown. Isn't that pretty for his little feet? And maybe even the branch. So let's go here. I'm gonna tap in, and this is wet. Look how cute, just tap in. Last time I made a little bird, by the way, I forgot to add his little feet. A couple of you noticed. And then maybe even tap in some colors there. Kind of optional because we're gonna go over that with some gold. Wash, rinse my brush. And now I'm gonna create, let's see, we could do the background first and then the branch. Let's just lightly sketch in that branch. So I want my branch to kind of come from here. Don't want to sketch in too dark. And he's standing on it, and maybe it comes up with some little pieces. You know, just use your imagination. Like that. I don't want to add too much because I don't want it to take away from our little birdie. And I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll go in and add in some of that gold, and his little eye is going to be black. But let's do this one right here. Okay. I'm going to pick up that dark brown, which is a mixture of Van Dyke brown, and you could add in a little Payne's gray or even some of that purple. Tap, tap, tap. And let's go in and create, actually, you know what? Let me reverse that just for a second, because I feel like we could do our background here. Just a tiny bit. So I've got my branch drawn in. Let's go in and pick up that green, just how I showed you here. And we're going to, and you could do green, you could do whatever color background you really want. Here's my green here. And I want to make it about 50-50. And you don't even have to tap this one off. Just pick up that paint. You can tap a little if you feel like you have too much. And let's just kind of go around the branch here. Just in kind of a random pick up. I want this kind of a darker color. So now that I've got that, I wash and rinse my brush, and my brush is pretty wet. And now I'm just going to go around, keep washing and rinsing my brush. And look how pretty that is. Isn't that a pretty background? You could even add a little of that color to the branch. But I'm really taking a wet brush and just pulling that out. And look at how we did that negative painting. Let's add a tiny bit up here. Maybe here. Being careful not to touch him, or we might get some green in him. And then wet brush. And I don't want to fill in everything. I want some white space in there, but isn't that a fun way to do a background? And it's really pretty. It really pulls your eye through the painting, which I love. I feel like I need just a little bit more right here. There we go. So now we've really pulled out that branch that he's standing on. And let's get back to our little birdie while this dries. So I'm going to grab some of that beautiful gold. You know, I am obsessed with this. And even these little touches can just add in so much. So I'm going to use a little bit of the side of my brush, so I get a little wider brush stroke. If I use it straight, I'll have to really push down and widen out the brush. But if I use the side of my brush, I'm going to get more width. So, you could even put salt in this, by the way, guys. Okay, so let's go point, and then, ooh, look at that. And then using my brush just to kind of spread it out. Let's maybe do his wing up here. There we go. Oh my gosh, so pretty. I hope you can see that in the camera. It's really, really pretty. I might just add in a little bit more because I really like the bling. So I'll hold that up for you so you can see that. I'm just going to rinse my brush. And I think that's dry. We can now add in the eye, but look how pretty that is. Let's actually add in some little sprinkles while this is wet. Oh my gosh, look how pretty that is. So beautiful. I just love it. Ooh. There we go. And if this is dry, you can either use a pin or you can just use the very tip of your brush. Let's pick up a tiny bit of that black. Make sure this is dry. And add in a tiny little eye, and then his beak. There we go. So cute, look at him. All right, let's color in that. Hopefully this is dry. Even if it spreads a little, I'm okay with that. So I want to use that Van Dyke brown again. Like that. You could even make this branch gold. I mean, how pretty would that be? Make your own stuff here, like do your style. If your style is more realistic, then you're going to want to do the branch brown. If your style is a little bit more whimsical and colorful like mine, you're going to, you know, play with different colors. So here we go, point, press, and then point. Let's go right under his little leg. And as we get to the top up here, I'm going to darken this up a bit. And now I'm going to hold the brush a little bit higher and touch really lightly. So that's a little bit wet. That's okay. There we go. Look how cute that is. Maybe create some other little stems coming out here. Now it's wet, so, but I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me. Maybe a little branch coming out here. Look how cute. Okay. You could even do, let me grab my little palette knife. Where is it? Here it is. If you really wanted to, you could do some scratching in here. And create maybe some texture like that. I don't know, can you see that? See that little texture? Okay, so we're about done. All I'm gonna add in now are some leaves, maybe one more little branch here. Let's do one more branch there. Feel like this is a little bit bare. So very light pressure. Oh yeah, that's better. There's quite a bit of water there, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that. Maybe a tiny little branch here. Okay, now let's go in with gold. And I think I'm gonna make my leaves gold. You can make yours green, you can make them whatever color you want. So I just think it'll be kind of pretty with some gold leaves. Ooh, yeah, look at that. But I tend to love the bling. Oh, so pretty. And really, I mean, the actual bird is so easy, isn't it? I might add in even just a tiny bit more bling to my birdie. One more coat maybe. Oh, I love it. Of that gold. There we go. And you're done. All right, everybody, I hope you give this a try. So much fun. And what fun color combinations you could use. You could use reds, a yellow bird. We get orioles here, so that could be yellow. Go with a plain old brown bird and just really have fun with it. And last of all, I'm just going to write my name. Don't forget your name on your work. Like that. And we're all done. So I hope you give this a try. Make sure and check out. I know I get so many beginners, which is my passion to teach. And thank you all for being here. I love hearing from my regulars. I'm still quite a newbie here. And to see some of you that have stuck it out with me and all my bloopers and learning, it's really fantastic. But what I wanted to say is, check out my beginner's class. It's only $45 and you get 17 lessons. You get tons of videos and worksheets. You can repeat them. You can go at your own pace. And I take you all the way from your supplies and setting up your creative space to a final fun project and even a bonus project in the end. But the reason why I mention this is because I mean, I learned for years just grabbing resources from here and there, of course, before the internet. And now I know a lot of you kind of jump around, and if that works for you, that's totally perfect. But this course puts everything into one coherent, cohesive, start to finish style. So you could just go through it. And I think it's a really great way to learn because everything's in one place. All right, everybody, have fun, happy painting. Check out also my free beginners playlist. And most of all, just have fun. I so appreciate you guys. All right, I'll see you soon.